It's time for the Daily Stand Up Podcast presented by Agile Dad with your host, Lee Henson. Without any further ado, let's get started. Today it's time for our Agile, not so Agile episode of the Daily Stand Up as we do every Friday. So I thought today I would just talk to you about something that recently occurred to me. I've had the past few weeks where I've been less frequent on social media like LinkedIn and Facebook and things. And part of that was a time for reflection. And I walked away noticing two or three things that really helped me get my head around what I should be doing and how I should be doing it. And one of my lifelong goals has always been to share my story and to talk a lot about the things that have impacted me in hopes that I could uplift someone else or give someone else a chance to really learn a little more about who they are and what they can do in their life to make a difference. And I had the opportunity to engage with one of my coaches. And this particular coach was going through a lot of loss. She had lost an uncle, and it was someone who was very close to her. And her grandfather, who was being cared for by the uncle, she ended up taking care of him, and then he became very ill. And it was something that warmed my heart because I saw just how much she went out of her way to take care of her family and to extend love and to do the things that she needed to do to reach out to them. And what an example it was to me to see this young lady step up to the plate and do the things that she did. And one of the questions that she had for me, or I shouldn't say it's a question, one of the concerns, one of the things that was weighing heavy on her mind was loss and loss of loved ones and how to handle loss. And the more I thought of it, I asked myself, if I could give her one piece of advice, what would it be? And I asked her to tell me more about her grandpa. And she did. And as she did, it became evident that this man was an upstanding, wonderful, amazing man who loved life and lived life and had undying respect for her. And it was in that moment that I said, he would not want you to be sad or upset or angry right now. The grandfather was in his late 90s and still kicking, still doing good. But after the uncle had passed, he started to fall apart and he didn't want to eat and he just didn't want to do anything. He was just beside himself with loss and with pain and grief. And I thought to myself, when you have that deep of love for someone that you feel like you can't go on without them, what is life like when you finally have to face the fact that you might have to go on without them? And where do you focus and what do you do? And I needed the strength to uplift my coach, but I also needed something that I could walk away saying, hey, I truly believed. And in this case, I knew in my heart of hearts that this fine, upstanding man would not want for her to be sad or for her to feel pain. He would want for her to celebrate all the wonderful things that she learned and all the things that he had an opportunity to guide her and teach her and all the things that he did to uplift her. And I think what was really amazing is now she's of one faith, I'm of one faith, and her neighbors of a different faith. So she's been surrounded by a lot of people who are very faithful. And the piece of advice that she got most common was to not dwell on the grief side of this, but to celebrate the wonderment and the amazement that was her uncle and that was her grandfather, and to document and to share these things with her kids and to tell stories and to live life and to create a memory that will last forever for the rest of our family about just how insanely amazing and uplifting these two gentlemen were to her and in everyone else's lives that they came in contact with. And it reminded me of an opportunity that I had with my son. So one night my son was doing some things and he was being silly. And I told him, I said, you remind me so much of your grandpa and, or my grandpa, your great grandpa. And I call him Papa. I said, you remind me of him. And I recalled a story, and it was a funny story where my grandma and grandpa were kind of jabbing at each other and, just for fun, poking fun. And my grandpa said something that upset my grandma. And I remember the way the house was organized. We had a living room, like a family slash living room with a dining room table. And then we had a foyer where people could come in, entry to the house that connected directly to that living room, dining room. And then we had an entry to the kitchen from there. And then just around the corner to the right, there was an entry to go back out to the table, to the dining area. So it literally made a circle, right? And I remember that he said something that got her so upset that she started chasing with a frying pan and yelling at him and running around the circle. And he was laughing so hard that he nearly got hit several times with the frying pan. And it was just so funny to see how upset she was, but yet how happy he was, and to see how in the end it was all just great joy. And it's one of those memories that I'll never forget. And I asked my coach, my dear friend, I said, "Can you find time to meditate and find peace inside of yourself and calm so that you can be in a place where you can showcase all these amazing things that you've lived and tell the stories and do the things that you do, because I think life would be incomplete if you didn't do those things." And she agreed. And it was just such a powerful moment for me to be able to share that in this life we make decisions that impact us daily, but our decisions also, especially when parents or grandparents or people in their later years, decisions that we make about who we're going to spend time with and what we're going to do and how we're going to continue their legacy is something that we need to be better equipped to handle, and we need to know what we're going to do. So I guess what I'm trying to say is my message is threefold. Message number one: everybody in this world has a predetermined time, a start date and an end date. There, that's the easiest way to put it. And no matter what faith you're from, there's not a whole lot you can do to control that date. You live your life to the best of your ability. You seek to serve and love those around you, and you do the things that you can do. The second takeaway is that instead of being in a state of mourning when we are about to lose someone that we love, the best thing we can do is celebrate the memory of that person by sharing uplifting, wonderful, heartwarming experiences to let their legacy live on. Write it down, document it, put it in a journal. Better yet, record a video, record audio of that person telling stories about their life. Preserve their heritage, preserve the things that they loved, because you'll have that to go back later as part of your legacy. And I guess three is, even though this is a drop in a bucket, don't take those moments for granted. When you know that it's time, or getting closer to time, spend time with the people that you love the most. And don't ever let a day go by where you don't tell those people that you love them and that you appreciate them, because those are important things in a cycle of your growth and their growth and progression. And I think that if we went through life using those simple approaches, that it would make us feel better and it would uplift us. So today, my message to you is to celebrate life, to love life, to uplift people around you, to let them know that this mortality is a drop in the bucket, because we existed before this life and will exist after this life. And it doesn't matter what faith you're from, whether you believe in reincarnation, or whether you believe in a heaven, or whether you believe in whatever it is you believe in the afterlife. We all have a journey and we all have someplace to go. And my hope is that while you're here, that you'll make enough of a difference, that you'll leave a legacy behind, that others can follow your example to uplift the people around them and to make their lives better. So, amazing things happening. Monday is a very special occasion, so I hope that you'll be around for that. But for now, I encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile. Have an amazing weekend. Until next time, do take care.